We just heard the Pakistan Defence Minister in the headlines, and what we are getting to hear is that he's briefed the Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif on the latest strike at the line of control. Nawaz Sharif has also spoken to the Pakistan Army Chief General Rohith Sharif. And the Pakistan Prime Minister has called for a cabinet meeting tomorrow. So there are a lot of developments happening in Pakistan. Pakistan so far has denied that there were any surgical strikes. In fact, they have called it only a small arms fire and has said that the official death toll were 2 soldiers. We have with us India Today's executive editor, Gaurav Sawant, with us. Now, Gaurav, so far, everyone believes that Pakistan does not really have it in them to launch a full-scale war. But the US has been extremely wary of Pakistan's handling of nuclear weapons. In fact, they have expressed their reservations and has questioned, its responsibility. And there's also this fear about how, how erratic Pakistan can be. So is there a fear that perhaps there could be a very strong retaliatory action from Pakistan's side?
This is perhaps the first time that Pakistan is seeing how erratic, in their perception, India could be. So, this is a game the two can play, and India can play this game much better than Pakistan. Now, the areas that were chosen were very carefully chosen. I want to quickly bring in General Bikram Singh, former Chief of the Army Staff, who joins me on the broadcast. General, your take on the surgical strikes.
Gaurav, this is in conformity with what the DGMO brought out the other day. He was quite emphatic about it, a time and place of our choosing, and ostensibly this is the manifestation of his declaration that he made during the last public appearance during the media interaction.
General, where do you see this headed? Could this lead to escalation, and is that a situation that could go out of hand?
But you see, he's also, remember, DGMO when he spoke, if you read between the lines, you see that he's cleared, he's actually, again, very explicitly made it clear that our intent we have achieved. Our intent is not to continue with this operation. We are calling it off. But that notwithstanding, we are prepared for all possible contingencies. In other words, he's given a message that, look, this is in response to what you did at Uri, and that is it. But should you wish to escalate, that's your choice. We are prepared for it.
General, surgical strikes have been carried out in the past. You've headed this army. In the past, they've beheaded our soldiers. They have got it back with interest. The government going public with the surgical strike, what does that indicate?
Gaurav, that's an excellent development, if you ask me, frankly. That is a positive development. And I think this should have happened long time back. At least we would have by now put Pakistan in its place. And I'm not trying to appear as a warmonger that we should have used only force for this purpose. What has come out loud and clear is the political intent. Political intent that, look, we are not going to take any more nonsense from Pakistan with regard to its bleeding us by 1,000 cuts. And this is the last resort that now we are going in for a more assertive and more aggressive policy. And I think we have the justification for it. The Honorable Prime Minister tried out every possible option of trying to, patch up with his counterpart across, with Nawaz Sharif. He tried to meet him in all kinds of formal and informal meetings, only to appeal to his good sense. But since that didn't work, apparently it didn't work because it's a controlled democracy by the Pakistani military. Nothing would have worked. We had to, as a last resort, adopt this policy. And I think it's a very positive development, which is going to, with the political law intent having been given out, to coerce Pakistan to start behaving and to stop nurturing and exporting terrorists and stop using terrorism as a system of state policy. You will find the whole of government approach being evolved. It is already being evolved. Some of the facets, some of the contours of this strategy, this policy are already there in the media. The government has already shown its intent. You've seen the diplomatic isolation that has started. You've seen the economic pressure points, whether it's through the water as a weapon, or it's revisiting our economic engagement with Pakistan, like the most preferred nation, whether it's a covert or overt operations, psychological operations, informational operations. All this a multi-pronged strategy is being evolved, which will be unfolded. And I would like to, through this medium, tell your viewers that they should not be expecting overnight results. Overnight results are going to be in the form of what the military has demonstrated. such demonstrative responses would continue, but otherwise overall prongs of the strategy would manifest over years. And we should be prepared for a long-drawn affair, for an enduring commitment to this strategy, and to make sure that over the years we are able to achieve this political end state.
General, in the short term, you've headed the Indian Army and through some of its toughest operations, but General, explain this to our viewers. In the short term, will there be escalation along the line of control? In the short term, could there be retaliatory strikes by Pakistan, beheading of our soldiers or killing our civilians or shelling our places along the LC?
Gaurav, country's posture, the posturing is something which is undertaken by the countries. We are posturing, so is Pakistan. Pakistan, when it indulges in this kind of saber-rattling and escalatory kind of action, apparently is addressing its domestic audience. We are a more responsible nation. We have made it very clear we don't intend upping the ante. It's left to you, it's up to you. And let's wait and watch. There would be precautionary measures taken. We would resort to certain measures which will not take us, the military will not be found wanting. Let me assure you this.
And sir, in fact, Ashton Carter endorsed exactly the same. He has questioned Pakistan's responsibility towards handling of its nuclear weapons. They've been themselves so wary about, Pakistan's dodgy control over nuclear weapons. Sir, you called it an excellent operation. What does this mean for the Jawans, the soldiers? Wouldn't this also boost their morale? We've just lost so many lives ever since, 26/11 took place. Gurdaspur, Pathankot, and then Uri.
It is a shot in the arm. It is absolute. It's very good for the morale. It was much awaited response by the government, and I think what we've done is really good. But more importantly is that let the other prongs of the strategy, that is diplomatic, economic, the psychological, the covert operations manifest. That will have a salutary effect in the years to come, as I said earlier.
Okay, General, in the past it has always been said that while the Indian Army is very strong, the morale of our troops is always very high. It's the weapons, the ammunition that is lacking. But today, when we look at the situation on ground, we've gone in, we've hit apparently at 6 different locations. Are these locations symbolic, or is the strike deeper than mere symbolism?
Look, it had to be a demonstrative strike. Remember, when the Pakistanis decided on Uri, it was a very cleverly, selected objective. One, of course, they kept certain areas under surveillance, but more importantly was the media mileage that Uri would have given them, because our media congregated there in no time, and they were able to put across to the world what was happening over there. Now, from the point of view of media mileage, from the point of view of reaching out to various target audience in Pakistan, various players who matter, I think this operation has gone in beautifully. It has delivered the right message to the right audience, both in Pakistan and in the international community, that enough is enough. And look, we are not warmongers. We don't intend using force beyond a point. This is only in retaliation as a retribution to what happened at Uri. But that notwithstanding, we are prepared for any ugly situation. So I think it's a very balanced approach that the government has adopted.
Okay. Escalation along the line of control, escalation along the international border, or more terror strikes? In your appreciation, what will Pakistan do? What will the Red Army or the Red Line do, as you say in your war games, General?
Gaurav, don't expect me to go cross the red lines as a former chief. The basic fundamental principle is we'll take precautionary measures. There's no doubt in my mind that there will be attempts at greater infiltration. That is a writing on the wall, a very logical inference. They will definitely do it. We got to remain prepared for it. We got to remain prepared from the point of view of, I would say, revitalizing our intelligence grid in our homeland, and also making sure along the borders we are on guard for any situation that may erupt.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for your time and speaking to us on India Today. That's the important message, that India is ready for any eventuality, any contingency, and that's the big message they're being sent out by the Indian government and the armed forces. We also have with us retired Colonel Anil Kaul, defense analyst, who is with us. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Your reaction to the news of the strike made by India across the line of control in POK.
First of all, let me tell you that after you have taken the views of a former chief, my comments really don't stand much water, because I am basically a layman and I am going by my appreciation and my experience. But having said that, firstly, the takeaways from this attack, the first and most important is that the inviolability of the LOC has been broken once and for all.
Yes.
All these years we have been kept with our hands tied behind our backs of not being able to cross the LOC and doing whatever we can on our side. This myth has finally gone, and therefore crossing over, which used to be the norm prior to the LOC being marked, that is prior to the 1972 agreements, the rule on the LC, at that time it was called the LC, was finders keepers. So you could walk across, pick up a camp or two and just keep it, and that's where the LC ran. That came to an end with the 72 agreement. Now I suppose we go back to status quo ante, and that is something which is a very big takeaway from this attack.
Okay.
Number two,
Colonel, stay with me. There's breaking news that's coming in. Pakistan has just said that it's not isolated in the world. Pakistan says diplomatically they are in touch with their interlocutors and that they will continue to raise the Kashmir issue. So Pakistan once again raises the Kashmir bogey. This is the Pakistan office spokesperson saying that Pakistan has not been isolated diplomatically. General Sehgal, this is Pakistan once again reverting to the Kashmir bogey when it's isolated in this region diplomatically, when it's crippled to a very large extent when it comes to SARC, and militarily it's taken a big hit on its face. It's a big psychological attack that Pakistan has just taken on its face.
Pakistan doesn't seem to have learnt the lesson even now. The world is no longer keen or willing to listen to Pakistan's rhetoric. If you saw what happened to Nawaz Sharif when he went down to UN General Assembly, virtually his body language displayed panic as far as he was concerned. There were no takers. When he met Kerry, he got an earful. When he wanted to meet Obama, he was clearly shown the door, to the extent that even the Pakistanis, all-weather friend China, underplayed the issue. They got no support from OIC. They said they've got support from Turkey. They got support from the Muslim world. They're getting support from some Arab countries. Everybody in totality have been cautioning Pakistan and indicating to them that it will be prudent to confine themselves to their own homeland and look after the interests of people of Balochistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Sindh, rather than continue to throw up the issue of Kashmir. It is something that is beginning to recoil on them in a very, very, very major way. And after what has happened last night,
yes, sir,
given the modern connectivity, given the modern means of intelligence and means of surveillance, the entire world will get to know in the next 24 hours what exactly happened.
All right, sir. All right. We're getting in some breaking news that the Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has spoken to the Pakistan Army Chief, General Raheel Sharif, who has told his Prime Minister that India's claims of those 6 surgical strikes across the line of control is an absolute lie. So that's the message that has been sent to the Prime Minister of Pakistan by his own army chief. Gaurav Sawant is with us. Gaurav, are you surprised this constant state of denial that Pakistan has been in, asking, terming everything to be a lie, whether it is all the evidence given in the multiple dossiers, testimonies, the telephone conversations, phone records, everything that India does is a lie according to Pakistan?
So this is a huge slap in the face of Pakistan Army Chief General Raheel Sharif personally and the army he commands. In Pakistan, the army is the only respected thing, the only powerful thing, and that is now decimated once again after Kargil in 1971. Osama bin Laden was killed. The US Army came in, killed Osama bin Laden and went back. That was a loss of face for Pakistan Army. The Indian Army goes in at 7 different locations, carries out a devastation in Pakistan, comes back unscathed, untouched. It's a huge loss of face for Pakistan. He may say it's a lie, but there is evidence. There is evidence in more forms than one. It will come out in public domain gradually. It's not just that one Osama bin Laden was killed, so there were no images and no images were ever released. Here there are multiple offenses that were mounted at different locations, and these offenses were mounted to send a very strong message to Pakistan. It wasn't symbolic. There was destruction that was carried out not just to terrorist infrastructure at Kale, and Kale is a very significant location. Destruction that was carried out at Kale, destruction that was carried out at Hot Springs, destruction that was carried out at Bimbar. All of this sends out a very strong message to Pakistan army, and this is just a very desperate and feeble face saver by General Raheel Sharif.
Well, we also have with us retired Colonel Anil Kaul. Sir, how do you respond to the kind of reaction that we have seen, not this time, but on umpteen number of occasions in the past, Pakistan continuing to deny everything that India has given as evidence? In fact, Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Bhutan, all of them have backed India. They have boycotted SAARC. The similar, demand has been made by Nepal to ask the venue to be changed. The United States themselves have asked Pakistan to crack down on terror, with John Kerry and Ashton Carter calling Pakistan unstable. Yet, Pakistan says that everything India does is a lie.
This is the second takeaway from this attack, which I was mentioning earlier before your breaking news came in. The second takeaway is that they have landed themselves in a catch-22 situation. Since they say that nothing of the sort happened, they cannot climb the escalation ladder. So there is no question of retaliation or coming back at us in any manner. So therefore there seems to be a dichotomy between what Mr. Raheel Sharif has just said. I'd like to call him Mr. Raheel Sharif because there is no icon of journalism in this whole aspect. And what his ISPR chief has said, that we will raise the ante. So there obviously there is something wrong. And there was another message from somebody else, which is another takeaway, that if it was just a fire assault, they keep happening all the time. So why is everyone jumping the gun and making statements if it was nothing but a lie? So that is the second takeaway, that here is one denial that they will have to eat crow. That is something which I take it, and they don't know what to do with it. Okay. They were not expecting us to come inside, give them a slap on the face, and get back.
Oh, absolutely. And that is a very, very strong message that has gone out of India. Expect the unexpected. And this is how India intends to let the situation be from this time on to the days that will follow. A lot of political reaction coming in. Let's listen in. We'll get you much more on this big story. We'll keep you ahead here on India Today. Let's listen in.
By our army